Welcome to our tiny shop. Come on in. Today Coco and I are going to be making a rustic Christmas sign in cedar. So the CNC router we use in our shop is the Longmill MK2, and it's the 30 by 30 size. I made this wooden enclosure for the CNC. It helps to keep all the dirt and noise trapped inside. So we just turn on the CNC itself, turn on the laptop, and we're ready to go. So now we'll take a look inside the enclosure and at the long mill itself. We have a security camera hooked up there that I can remotely monitor the job as it's running. And we got a clamping system here with T-tracks and a wasteboard of MDF underneath. So we use the program G-Sender that comes with the long mill, and that controls your CNC machine. And you see Coco here bringing the machine up closer so we can start our job and load the wood in. Now you see here Coco is changing out the bit and replacing the V-bit that was in there from the last job and putting in a roughing 1/4 inch end mill. So it's important to take the nut off completely and clean it out after each job so you get a nice strong fit of the new bit. So you're going to take the collet and you're going to put the bit into the collet. Then we'll put the bit and the collet back up into the router. Then you're going to put the nut back on and make sure to tighten it with your wrenches. So if you like this type of content, make sure to like and comment and subscribe to our channel, and you'll see more videos like this in the future. So Coco's now going over and getting a piece of wood that I prepared for this job. We're going to actually do 2 signs at once, and then we'll cut it in half, and we'll have 2 different types of signs of the same design. All right, now you want to make sure that your board is lined up properly. And then once you've done that, you can start clamping it. Make sure the board's nice and secure. I've had quite a few projects go south because the board wasn't quite tight enough. So let's make sure that's nice and secure. And then with this long mill, you have an option to get the touch plate, and you just put that in the bottom left hand corner, and then you align your bit with the circle in the corner, and you do that with your G-Sender program. And once it's all lined up, you'll just add the magnet to the collet and to give you a good connection, and you're going to run your XYZ location on the G-Sender. And when that's all ready to go, you close it up, load your file. And now I have this remote start and stop, so I don't have to have it running before I shut the door. That starts it up, and then starts up the router. Then you can hit run program, start on G-Sender, and it starts to go. And this enclosure works really well. It has a spot on the top for a vacuum if you want to attach the vacuum brush attachment. I don't use it too often because I find it kind of gets in the way a little bit of what I can see of what's going on with the carve. But if I'm doing MDF or something like that that produces a lot of sawdust, then I will attach that. But mostly I just let the enclosure keep in all the dust, and I'll clean it up with the vacuum afterwards. So you'll notice here we're using a 60-degree V-bit instead of the roughing. I decided to go with a more rustic look on this, so we changed that out, the roughing bit out for a V-bit, and we're just going to do that for a rustic look. And then once it's done, you turn it off remotely there, and You just check out your job, see if everything looks good. It's a little rough, but that's the look we were going for. You can also use, like I said, the clearing pass, and that would give it a more smooth look. So you see here, Coco is remotely starting the shop vac that's underneath the table. And we just clean up any mess before we take out the board. We find this system works pretty good. Keeping all the mess inside and cleaning it up afterwards. You just have to make sure you keep the tracks and the router itself clean after each job. So now that Coco's got it cleaned up a little bit, she'll lift up the router so it doesn't hit anything as she's moving it back. And she'll clear out some space there so that she can get at the clamps without any trouble. And this is the final sign. It needs a lot of cleaning up, but I'll show you how we do that next. So first we'll start with a brush. We'll just use a simple wire brush, and we'll just clean out any of the big pieces of debris and roughness. And after we've done that, we'll take it over to the drill press. Before we use that, always make sure to use your safety glasses. So I got this sanding mop kit. It's a 240 grit. So you can just attach it to your drill press, and it works pretty good at getting a lot of the debris and burrs out of the intricate carvings. It's not perfect, but it works pretty good. Then we'll pull out the sander and we'll hook it up. I got a system set up over top. We got vacuum hose that hooks up to the main dust collection system. I installed an electrical outlet right above the work table. Makes it pretty convenient. And we'll just close off one of the other dust chutes, open up the other one, remotely start the dust collector, and Coco will just give a sanding to the whole board before we start painting. So after she's finished sanding, we'll go in just with some acrylic paint, and we'll do each part of the sign in a different color. But before we do that, we're going to put some craft paper on the table. I got a huge roll from Uline. It works pretty good. We're going to start with a red for the Christmas lettering. We just use a piece of cardboard and a very small paintbrush, and she'll just start roughly painting in the letters. You don't have to worry about getting too detailed if it goes over, because we're going to sand. Once it's all painted and dried, we're going to sand down, and all will be left is the color on the inside. So once she has both letterings of the Christmas done, then we'll start on the yellow with the Mary part for each part of the sign. And then we'll do green for the plants or mistletoes, whatever that is underneath. And we'll do black for the outline of the sign. So you see we went over the edges. As long as you're not going into the other colors, then you should be fine being able to sand that out. So this is the finished board before sanding. Well, let's let that dry for a little bit, and then I come back and I start sanding it down, starting with a rough 60 or 80 grit sandpaper, and then I'll sand it right down to up to 200, 220. And once it's all sanded down, I will blow it out with my air hose. And after that, it'll be ready for the final painting and any kind of finish you want to put on it. After that's done, I'll take it over to the miter saw and we'll cut it into 2 sides and clean up any edges and anything left over. So once it's all cleaned up and sanded, I decided to do 2 separate colors. On the first one, I used a sponge brush, and if you do that, you can just go over lightly, not putting too much paint on the brush, and you can just get that last coat, whatever color you want to choose, without getting into the indented parts that you painted. And if you do get into it, that's okay. You can try to clean it up with a paper towel, and you could touch up the paint with a marker or with a fine paintbrush. It tends to work pretty good. So like I said, with the second board, I just left it clear, no paint on it, and just put a coat of water-based Varathane on it. And I think it turned out pretty good. With the water-based Varathane, you tend to get some bubbles and runs, but you can just get a paper towel as long as it's quick. You usually got about a minute to 5 minutes to get anything that's streaky before it dries, because the water-based finishes, they do dry very quick. And this is our finished products. So if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe below. And we'll have more videos like this in the future. Thanks for watching.